This video is going to be talking about something that I think needs to be said in Honkai Star Rail, especially with looking at how characters right now are balanced, and that is none of them are balanced. I'm not going to play around. We have a lot of characters right now that are very, very strong, and I mean super strong. We're talking about characters like Dan Heng, characters like Jing Liu, and guess what? They're both part of the same effing path, which is destruction. And we all know destruction right now is pretty much king when it comes to DPS. Before, Hunt used to be that guy. Hunt used to be the character or the path where everyone would know they would be the nukers, the single target damage dealers that just so much damage that it didn't even matter. But looking at how the paths are now when it comes to the state of the game, especially with how MLC is targeted, especially how Pure Fiction is targeted, the Hunt class has basically not been able to stand on its two legs for a good minute. Erudition and Destruction are clearly the MVPs of 1.6 at the current moment. Harmony, we all know, is a very, very strong buff or path that we have at the current moment. Nihility is getting up there for sure, with Kafka getting even more characters with Black Swan, with having Gwynaife and Sapo Luca, Welt, Pella, Silver. We're basically building out the Nihility path very well. A lot of the preservation units don't get used, especially considering March, Fire MC, Japar. These characters don't get used unless you have Fu Xuan. That's like the main preservation unit everyone uses. And we should probably get more. I'm not going to lie. They've been slacking a little bit when it comes to providing us extra preservation units, so hopefully we get some more in the future. And then abundance, we all know abundance is the your saving grace for a lot of the modes that we have right now. A lot of people prioritize having healing over shielding, and I wish they would kind of bring back preservation as a shielding class besides having Fu Xuan be as god tier as she is. It would be cool if we did get something different. But looking at what we're talking about in this video, which is the pass system, which is the characters that are in the meta and what characters aren't, I did see a community post looking at OK Code's community post, and it was saying that imagine if the Hunt class could actually be able to do more damage to shields or have more weakness break efficiency. Now that actually sparked what was going to be this video, and looking at it, wow, that actually would make so much freaking sense for something like Selet, for something like Yanqing, for a lot of these characters in the Hunt class. Imagine if they had innate passives, something like weakness break efficiency, something for destruction. Imagine if they got more HP, buffing out Blade, keeping that survivability keyword that is part of the destruction class, giving it to someone like Jing Liu, giving it to someone like Dan Heng, giving a little bit of extra XP. Now, I do want to further this idea rather than just say give them one buff. Why not make it to where if you build your team around these paths, why not make it a buff around that? That would be extraordinarily amazing for a lot of the characters and a lot of the paths that are currently in the game in Honkai Star Rail, especially looking at something like the Hunt class. I know a lot of people look at Selet, look at Yanqing, look at Topaz and Numbi, look at all these Hunt characters right now that aren't 100% doing the best when it comes to looking at the damage that they do versus the meta that they're in, versus the AoE centered meta that we have in MLC and Pure Fiction. A lot of the Hunt characters don't really get to shine that much, especially if they're not highly invested like many others. And that's not a bad thing. Everyone's gonna have their time to shine, especially how the Hunt was basically mowing over everything earlier. Now destruction, erudition took that spot. But to even it out, wouldn't it be cool if we had something like Genshin's element resonance system, where if you say you have 2 Hunts on the team, now you get extra speed, everyone's get boosted to the top of the list at the start of battle. This would make, Hunt class the superior class for grinding. This would make them super strong when it comes to 0 cycles. This is the way it would be really cool if they did that. Something like destruction, have double destruction. Everyone gets effect res plus 10%, and then they get an extra HP buff. Somebody like Blade would love that. Somebody like Jing Liu would love that because they would be able to not worry about taking so much HP away from the allies, even though it's a little bit. And then maybe someone like Dan Heng wouldn't be as squishy as he currently is. Maybe something like preservation. And I was playing around this with the stream I had yesterday. If you didn't get the chance to watch it, I am on twitch.tv/REHOO, and I also stream here on YouTube as well. So make sure to come by. I am not going to be streaming today, but I will be streaming tomorrow. And looking at preservation, how no one really uses this, and especially with abundance, I know no one's going to rock double abundance, double preservation. But imagine, since you're already trying to stay alive so bad with these two, I threw out the idea, imagine using double abundance. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to get immune to all CC, and you're going to get outgoing healing. If you don't survive with that alone, okay, at that point you need to uninstall. I'm not kidding. But immune to CC and also be able to survive a lot more with the outgoing healing. I think having a path resonance system would be super cool for the game because it would allow for different teams. Imagine rocking something like I don't know, sell it with a sub DPS Yanqing, even though I did test out Yanqing myself and it wasn't so fun, I'm not gonna lie to you. But being able to throw up these two characters in the hunt class, being able to speedrun a lot of the battles because you're boosting your team all the way to the top, that'd be super amazing. Maybe even the Nihility class, how they're being buffed out as well, even with Black Swan coming out right, you know, in the next patch. And that's going to be with, imagine if you have double Nihility, you get minus 20 effect rest to the whole enemy party, and that's it. You get your dots off, you get your debuffs off. That'd be an amazing thing for that alone. And why not further it with not just a pass system? Why don't we have an element system as well? Something like looking at maybe fire, because fire right now is slightly the weakest element in the game currently. They don't have a lot of characters. The only premium character we do have for this is Topaz and Numby, which actually that kind of surprises me if that's the only element that does that. But looking at Topaz and Numby, looking at Himiko, Fire MC, Gwenyf, and Asta, and Hook, we all know these characters aren't really big number makers besides Himiko in Pure Fiction and Topaz and Numby on certain occasions with Hyper Carry. Now, looking at the elements for fire, we know they're not big hitters. So why not, if you do fire, double fire on a team, you have a chance to apply Fire Kiss. And I know that's a Gwenyf and Center thing, but just name it something else. You can apply Fire Kiss, which gives total damage and have a chance to burn them. And you'll be able to do more damage with fire units. And if you would make a centered fire team, either having the dual DPSs be fire, either building mono fire, you'll have some buffs. That'd be absolutely amazing. I would love to see something like that in the game. And I think that would be really cool for the game, because something like lightning, maybe give 20% extra attack. I know that's part of the 4-piece of the lightning set, but we're just spitballing ideas. You know, something like that would be very beneficial to a lot of the characters. Someone like Kafka would love it for Dot. Genuine will love it, and it would help him with his substats for his relics. Arlen, maybe he'll be meta. There's something that can work for everything. I really love the fact that this idea popped up from Code's community post, and it kind of opens up a really big idea. Imagine if every single unit that was in the physical team, if you have multiple physicals, everyone has a chance to inflict trauma, which is like bleed or something like that. That'd be super cool. Imagine that. Quantum. Imagine you were able to immediately get some quantum res pen just for having multiple quantums. So that way, you know, you have Silvo, you have Shui, you got Sele, you got Fushun, and you're doing so much damage with mono quantum because that's just a big element team. There's a lot of different ways you can look at this system. There's a lot of different ways you could play around with it. Something like adding a fire damage bonus for fire, giving an attack bonus to lightning, wind. Maybe we could play around with how their relic set is and just advance forward everyone to the top. There's a lot of different ways you can play with this. There's a lot of different ways you can work around with giving buffs to characters, not only in their path, but also in their element, because a lot of the elements and paths don't balance out as evenly as time goes on, and that's okay. That's 100% fine. Of course, the meta is going to shift as time goes on, but it'd really be amazing for characters like Yanqing, characters like Bailu, characters like Japard, to be able to have something to fall back on if they're not currently the best used character in the game at the moment. Something like having that dual element system where if you have double of a certain element on a team, then you get these buffs. Say you have double ice and then double imaginary. Oh, well, now you have a chance to freeze and you have a chance to slow on your whole team, making a super like delay build or something like that. Having Ruan Mei, having Welt. There's a lot of really cool stuff that comes with trying to make a pass system and an element system in the game. And I think that would be overall more fun for the game. Make it a little bit easier to team build, make it a little bit easier to have fun with the characters that you want to play with, making it so that they're viable no matter what, and that everything isn't centered on one path every single patch. You know, not just Erudition is going to shine, not just Destruction is going to reign supreme. You have some like strategies that may require having double hunt so that you are already boosted to the top of the line, so that you can get your zero cycle even quicker or even easier. Something like giving Destruction characters more HP, Erudition characters more, I don't know what they would want, to be honest, more single target damage on the main unit. I don't know. There'd be a lot of cool things with this. I think this is a really cool idea. I think this is a really fun idea for Honkai Star Rail. It opened up more possibilities when it comes to team building, and it wouldn't just be, oh, just slot your sustain, slot your buffer, slot your hyper carry, or slot your dual DPS, slot your support, and then slot your sustain. There'd be more teams, more crazier teams, more cool teams. So other than that, that's gonna be it for this video. I just wanted to throw that out there in the ethos, basically, from the Code's community post. Make sure to go follow Code if you haven't already. Amazing content creator, super funny, does the same type of videos I do, kind of. But other than that, that's going to be it. This is a really cool video. I'm really happy to say this. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one, and peace.